Rate, ratio, and percentages still relate to the proportional equation or the equivalent fraction equation. And we can use that same reasoning to solve any type of rate or ratio problem. So we have here a car travels at 30 kilometers in 4 hours. Well, this is a ratio. And we can relate it as a rate. Our rate would be 30 kilometers compared to 4 hours. If I want a unit rate is when we divide. So if I divide, I'm getting a multiplier. So unit rates actually represent multipliers. So 30 divided by 4 is going to be 7.5 kilometers per 1 hour. Okay, so that's a unit rate, and I can still keep it as a ratio like this. So the ratio in kilometers to hours, we can write it as 30 kilometers to 4 hours. So this ratio here is equivalent to that, writing it as a fraction like this, and we can use our proportional equation. They are the same thing. And the unit rate, which I already solved for, we just divide these two, we get 7.5 kilometers per hour. And as long as we keep it in the right direction, we can use this very efficiently in problems, because we can keep track of what should be in the numerator, what should be in the denominator. Now, we could also write this as a rate of hours per kilometer, and that's perfectly valid as long as we keep track of the direction. Okay, but typically we keep our rates in kilometers per hour for speed. So cars traveling at 20 kilometers an hour, how long were they traveling for if they traveled 95 kilometers? Well, we can do this as a proportional equation. We can compare kilometers to 1 hour and make an equivalent fraction, and we can say 95 kilometers for x hours. And we have here a multiplier of times 20. So we can use this in the opposite direction as a divisor by divided by 20. Now, when we do this, we get x is equal to divided by 20 is going to be 4.75. And just double checking that. Yeah, 4.75 is going to be the hours in this case. So using this calculation, this proportional equation, we can get the time that they're traveling for at that rate. So that's one way we could do it. We could set it up as a proportional equation. Now, if we're getting better at this, we really should start moving towards a times divide or unit rate analysis. And unit rates work like this. If I have 95 kilometers and I want to end up with hours, I need to times by some ratio, and I need to, since that's kilometers in the numerator, or times kilometers, I need to divide by kilometers, and I'm going to look at my unit rate here. My rate is 20 kilometers for 1 hour. Now, as long as I get the ratio in the right direction, I can determine that kilometers and kilometers cancel. If I want to get rid of kilometers, I need kilometers in the denominator. Those units cancel, and I'm left with hours units. And so I end up with 95 times on top, divide on bottom. So 95 times 1 divided by 20, and that's going to give me my answer of 4.75 hours. And I can see that there's my calculation again. 95 divided by 20. So 95 to 20 ends up in the denominator to cancel out the unit. And this is called unit rate analysis. And this is a very efficient way to figure out whether I'm timesing or dividing.